Hey, what's up, guys? This your boy Six Solo, a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, the Nasty Chi chapter at Morehouse College. And make sure you tune in to Historically Black Sense, the Culture. Make sure you catch my episode. You don't want to miss it.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Historically Black Sense, the Culture. And today, I got a very, very special guest for y'all, man. I'm gonna call him Solo, but I'm gonna let him introduce himself. He got Prince Jones on his page, man. Solo 6, man. I don't know if he wants y'all to even know his government name, but we're gonna let him get into it and introduce himself, man. First of all, it's good to have you on the show, my brother.
It's a pleasure. Of course, Mob, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to, talk about everything we got to cover today, so yeah.
Definitely, man. Y'all don't know, this is my fraternity, brother. Both of us are members of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and it's crazy because the first time I saw this guy, he was like strolling his butt off. I'm like, who is this dude? He does not get tired. Like, who is this? Like, he has the most energy that I've ever saw in my life. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Morehouse.
Yes, sir.
A proud Morehouse man.
Of course. They say you can tell a Morehouse man something, but you can't tell him much. So being a black elitist as far as a man, a black man, it's important, going to Morehouse. And yeah, I'm proud of it. So.
Hey, dope, man. I like that. So, what made you choose Morehouse? Or did Morehouse choose you? I asked everybody that question.
The funny thing is, okay, I'm gonna be honest. The funny thing is I'm from Detroit.
Okay.
So in Detroit, we don't really talk about HBCUs because we don't really have that. HBCUs is really a down south thing. So the first thing after high school, the two colleges that's always in our high school, because I went to a type DPS school, was Michigan State, University of Michigan. So they're literally there, like, after the first semester, and they're already picking, so I got accepted to Michigan State. So I was like, man, I'm gonna be a Spartan. It's about to be crazy, and it's kind of like, if you're from Detroit, that's what you do. You go to one of those schools. My mom went to Tennessee State, and her sister went to Prairie View, and they both graduated from there, so I didn't know much about it. I mean, I got a hint of it through Stump the Yard. Shout out to Stump the Yard, but it was like not something that crossed my mind. It was just like, okay, this is cool. I'll do that once I get to college, but it wasn't never I looked into. But my mom was like, you ain't going to state. And I was like, what you mean I ain't going to state? She's like, you ain't going to state, you're going to an HBCU. And I was just like, what's that? And, I think that it was a blessing because she educated me on that. Sent me on an HBCU, a black college tour. I went to a lot of different schools, and at first I was going to go to Grambling.
Okay.
I saw Grambling. It's something called the Bowl. Their football field is in this into this big sinkhole.
Yeah.
And the energy was just amazing. I was just like, well, I want to go here. And then my mom was like, nah. She was like, I'm gonna give you two choices. And I was like, what was the point of me going on this college tour? And she was just like, the two choices was Howard and Morehouse. And I chose Morehouse because I was like, I felt like Howard was gonna be a party school. So then I was like, man, I choose Morehouse. Got there, didn't think that it was in Atlanta, so it's kind of like, so I never, visited Atlanta, so I got down here, I was like, oh, well, it seemed like both of them are, but it was for the best,
That's exactly why I had that expression when you said Howard. I'm like, I think all HBCUs has their party side.
Right.
But you know what? It's crazy that you say that. You said your mom, she told you you're going to HBCU. Yeah. You didn't really know what it was. Up north, a lot of, like you say, it wasn't that much awareness in Detroit as far as what you saw. And that's why we're doing the show. That's why we're doing this show, to bring awareness to HBCUs and to let people know that there's a lot of good things that can come out of it. There's a lot of successful people, entrepreneurs, entertainers, whatever you want to be, you can be it right there coming from an HBCU. And that's the point of the show, which is why we reached out. I'm like, man, you know, let me hit up Solo, man. First of all, this guy can dance his butt off. That's the first thing. And I'm going to be honest. The first thing they called me, okay, he's a fraternity brother. Then when we followed each other, you know, I'm like, okay, this is dope. I saw him do, I'm going to tell you what my favorite one is.
Okay.
No, I'm going to save it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to get into that. All right, Phi Beta Sigma.
Yes.
What made you go Phi Beta Sigma?
What made me want to be a Sigma? Well, when I first got to Morehouse, there was Greek life all around, you know, and they helped move us in, and it seemed exactly like the movie Stomp the Yard. I swear it was, you know. Shout out to Will Packer, you know, being a black producer of an amazing movie, because that was the first time I really, I guess, got to see what Greek life was. And now that I go to an HBCU, it was kind of like, oh, this is surreal. So they helped us move in, and then I think I went to the first Market Friday at Spelman College, and I saw the Greek stroll, and I was just like, oh, this is like the movie. And I danced, so I need to be a part of one of them. Everybody had their thing, you know, from A-Road to Psy to Pi, they all had, was out there representing. However, the guys in blue, they was kind of like to themselves, and it kind of threw me off, you know. They was kind of like, they would show out, but it was kind of like they wasn't in the main light. And that was new to me, because I'm used to being in the light, at least when I'm performing. And so I would just watch them from afar. At first, I was looking at the glitz and the glamour of the other three, because I was just like, oh, okay, well, they're the ones that the girls go crazy for. And they're the ones who always, you know, that everybody always thinking about going. You know, when you talk to your classmates, you know, your freshmen brothers, you like, hey, oh man, we think about doing this, So I heard it, but my RA that year that I was a freshman, that first semester, he ended up crossing Sigma. And I really looked up to him. So after he crossed Sigma, I was just like, okay. I would never saw him being, you know, the boys in blue. Yeah. So I had to have a conversation with him, like, hey, what made you do that? Because you got a lot of energy, you know what I'm saying? You're really likable, you know, when it comes between, you know, not even just girls, when it comes to residents, you know, you're one of the hall favorites. So what made you want to do Sigma? And he told me, and I was just like, all right. And he was like, it's bigger than just strolling and stepping. He was like, there's a lot more to it. He was like, yes, even though you didn't see Stomp the Yard, he was like, you got to see the glorified part of it. You didn't get to see all the other different type of service works and everything else that you know, they briefly touched on the networking and the connections. When in the movie where he was like, he was about to get put out and he had some connections that, you know, so like, they briefly talked on it, but he was like, this is what it's really about. So when he broke it down, I started to step back. And I looked and I was just like, all right, cool. So who really put in the work then? And that year, it was only 7 Sigmas. It had to be like 20 to 30 alphas on the yard. It was like 10 to 15 Qs on the yard. The Kappas on the yard. So they was the smallest. But at the end of the year, we have like this big award ceremony for Morehouse and Spelman. Yeah. And we come together in King's Chapel and they give out like, kind of like peer appointed type awards. And the Greek one, Greek Life of the Year, went to the Sigmas. And it caused the uproar. When I tell you, everybody was mad. Deltas was mad. The Alphas was mad. The Qs was the only ones who came up to them and was like, hey, we understand why y'all won. And if it wasn't for y'all, if y'all didn't win, it better been for us. But we understand that y'all literally was holding it down. Because I did community service projects with them, so I was like, okay, they really did do that. You know, they did hold a ton of programs. Whether you showed up to it or not, it's not the point of how many people are in your program, it's the point that you gave them the resources to be there if they wanted to. And that spoke volumes to me. So I had thought about it, I was just like, you know, it's not about the popularity, it's not about, you know, who's gonna see me, what girls, you know. I was like, because at the end of the day, they're gonna come regardless, you know what I'm saying? And I hold myself to that stature, like, I'm gonna be me regardless, and I don't need to join somebody to be in the limelight. I'm gonna make that light change and look on me, so I'm looking at the things that they can help me with, and they had networking opportunities. As you see, the Six Solo brand, they didn't really help with that whole foundation. And it helped me as far as know how to run programs, business, and I got brothers who I can really say are my brothers.
Yeah.
We hold Kai,
Yeah.
we hold Kai to like a whole nother standard, and those are my bros. Like,
Dope.
you know, so it's not just, oh, we just letter wearers, or just, oh, we just cool from here and here. No, we cool all the time. So
That's dope, definitely dope, man. So, you know, as far as being a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, being a Morehouse man, how has that equipped you for life? You know, what have you learned along the way that you can really apply to everyday life?
That's a great question. Well, I will say, as being a Morehouse man, one thing is that they instill in us is that, you know, not just being a black elitist, but that we have to hold ourselves to a whole nother level, because in society we'll always be looked down upon. We'll always be shown as the predator, you know, as the person who you should be afraid of, the monster, the bad guy. So we have to carry ourselves not only to be viewed, not even just as evil, but to show that we can break, you know, the glass ceiling. You know, we're trying to produce a bunch of Jay-Z's, you know, Puff, you know, a lot of Puffs or Sean Diddy Combs. We're trying to, Dr. Dre's. We're trying to, and not even just in the entertainment culture, you know, Chameleonaire, he's in the technology community. Who else? As you know, our commencement speaker, he's in the technology field, who just paid off all the loans.
I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that next. How do you feel about that?
I'm salty. You know, I'm definitely salty. I graduated 2 years early.
2 years too early.
Too early, but it's okay. You know, it's a blessing for all my brothers.
Yeah.
So shout out to the class of 2019.
That was a dope gesture.
I'm proud of y'all, and hey, live it up, because you ain't got no debt, unlike me. But you know.
Man.
But yeah, Morehouse has, you know, equipped us to learn how to be professional, you know, learn how to conduct ourselves, learn how to stand for ourselves without being aggressive. You know, there's a way to, I guess, check someone without having to come off ignorant. You know, so learning how to do a lot of different things, from something simple like learning how to dress, to something, you know, that's more difficult as far as in our majors and stuff like that. We had these 5 wheels, and I think they still have the 5 wheels. I'm trying to remember all of them, but I know well-dressed, well-traveled. There was 3 other ones, but we used to have that on our school ID.
Okay.
And basically, all them 5 wheels was what we embody as Morehouse men.
Dope.
And it's kind of like anytime you took out your ID, you saw it. So it's kind of like you couldn't
avoid it.
Yeah.
You couldn't get around it.
So Morehouse definitely equipped me, and then Phi Beta Sigma, it just equipped me with, everywhere I go, there's at least a Sigma somewhere. You know, somewhere.
Everywhere you go.
I've been all around. You know, after I graduated and I had joined Step Africa. Actually, before I even talk about Step Africa, when I was going to audition, it's this guy named Jita Magic. You know, phenomenal stepper, by the way. He was a Sigma in Step Africa. And Step Africa is a professional dance company that's geared towards the art of stepping. And it started, in, if I'm not mistaken, 1994. And as an exchange program between us as Greeks and South African gumboot dancers. Okay. And it was like, you know, like I said, just an exchange. But long story short, he was already in the company. And when I got word of it through Greek life, so that's another thing, since I was Greek, AKA told me about it, first of all.
So many connections.
So many connections.
So many.
So after she told me about it, I met him.
Okay.
I met him just because I did AGP, he did AGP, and he was like the 3-time champ, and I was just getting my feet wet. I just won my first one. And he was like, yo, you should do it. And I was like, all right, cool. And I looked up to him, and he was like, yeah. So he really helped usher it in, kind of gave me the ropes, and was like, this is what you should expect and everything. And then boom, I did it. And he pulled for me, And they thought I was talented, but also just having a guy that's on the inside already that you feel like also will help your experience and your transition be smoothly because you're the new guy on the block. It was dope. So that was connections and employment in a sense. And then when we toured, there was a Sigma everywhere we toured. I'm talking about from Maine to Florida to California. It didn't matter where I was at. There's always networking opportunities and connections. So I was never homeless.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't never have to, I guess, necessarily struggle. It was always, hey, yo, Solo, you in town? Hey, yo, let's link up.
Exactly. So. And once again, like it's connections everywhere. Whether you know, honestly, when you're a Greek, you're Greek.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter what organization you chose, whatever organization you decided to choose,
right?
Or you know, whichever one chose you, you can always confide in people who are members of the D9 anyway.
Perfect.
And it's gonna always be a connection or of some sort, especially once you know, sometimes when you're in undergrad, it may be a little different.
Right.
But once you're in that grad chapter, I mean, once you're in the grad chapter, or you know, out in the grad life, it's like in real life. Let me say that people in real life, people understand the main goals of life, and everybody's out here trying to get it. Everybody's out here grinding, hustling every day.
Right.
So for you to be a member of a Divine Nine organization, another member of that of any other organization are more prone to just help you than the man who isn't.
Right.
You know, because it's like, oh, you Greek. Oh, you do not.
There you go.
I tell you what. You know, it's one of them type things. So I mean, yeah, that's definitely a great. All right. Dancing.
Okay.
At what point did you get into dancing? You said you probably must have been doing it your whole life.
Yeah,
right?
I started at
like,
that.
How did it get to where it is now? Because you can drop a video and get like thousands and thousands and thousands of likes.
Well, now it basically started when I was 8.
Okay.
I started dancing when I was 8 from watching the Usher video, You Don't Have to Call. That was my...
I hate to cut people off in interviews, but I gotta say it. The Usher video that you dropped is like by far my favorite one.
Oh, appreciate it.
No Limit.
Yeah.
So dope. So dope.
Yeah, that was, I saw that video, and it's funny because I started off as a singer. So in elementary school, we had choir, and that's what everybody in the school knew me as, you know. And when 5th grade, I saw that video, and I saw him dancing, and then he was on the Heelys. I thought that was so crazy. I was like, man, I want to do that. So I started dancing. And it's funny because I transitioned out of singing, and I probably should have held on to it. Everybody told me that. But I was just like, man, I don't want to be a singer. I want to dance. So I started dancing. But in between that, acting has started first for me. And then I started dancing, and when I started dancing, I found out like I have a little gift for it because I've never taken class until I'm an adult. So I was always either watching Chris Brown, watching Usher, watching Omarion, you know, and I was just watching their moves, and I try to mimic it, and then I do something else, you know. And it just grew, you know, being known as far as in your school. And then since I was in the acting field, my mom really pushed me to try to do both.
Okay.
I didn't take it as serious as I should have, as I do now. But when I was a kid, I was trying to do everything. But I did have the opportunity of doing like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and stuff of that nature. So that's when I was like, man, I really like it, got a talent for it. And the way it is now, the solo movement, basically once I crossed into Sigma world, everybody knew me at Morehouse as the dancer. Like, oh, he dances, you know. But when I became a Sigma, we had a goal. Me and my LBs, we had one goal, and the goal was, all right, cool, we're gonna take over. We're gonna run this campus. Because a lot of people, they be sleeping on the Sigmas, you know. Us at the Chi chapter, even though we're so prestigious, you know, when you're in the jungle with the AKs, the Deltas, the Qs, the Kappas, people already have this assumption that there's this top 3 in fraternities and there's this top 2 in sororities. So when you're in that jungle and people know you do work, but they don't socially appreciate you, or, you know, oh, y'all doing something, we want to kick it with y'all, or see y'all as the cool kids or whatever, you get shunned a little bit. So when we had crossed, we didn't get that love. And when I say we didn't get that love, I mean really we didn't get that love from nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had to go up to people to like, hey, you know, we crossed. And it's like, oh, congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Like, You wasn't at our probate, and you go to school right across the street, or you go to the same, but it's cool. So that instilled, we already knew it was gonna kind of be like that, but that instilled in us like, oh, we're gonna take over. And GS3, shout out to Greek Shenanigans, GS3 had told me that I was the first one, because this is when Instagram had only 10-second videos.
Okay.
And
way back.
Yeah, because I crossed in 2014, fall of 2014. And they had 10-second videos, and when I crossed, we was like, all right, cool. Now we about to go to Market Friday, and we gonna be the spotlight because you got me, you got my LBs, we up in there, and I was already deemed to be the next showmaster, so I was ready. But when we had crossed, it was like the 12th of November, and that we didn't have no more Market Fridays to go to, so we was kind of like, oh man. So then we was just like, well, where are we gonna go ahead and turn up at? Because we want to show off our moves. Oh, wow. You know, after crossing, we've been practicing, we ready.
It sound like a movie right now. It sound like a movie.
You know, so we was kind of upset about it. So then that's when I had the idea. I was like, I was talking to my 8, Russell Pointer, and I was talking to him. I was just like, yo, hey man, we should do a video. And he was like, we should do a video. I was like, yeah, we should shoot a video. We should go into the lab. And the lab is really anywhere you practice at. And we should go in the lab, we should shoot a video where we just gonna do some Sigma stuff in that 10 seconds just for that. And he was just like, 10 or 15 seconds. And I was just like, all right. He was like, all right, cool. So we went in there, we dropped our first video, and it got a bunch of likes. It got like a few hundred likes.
Oh, wow.
Because when I crossed, I had like over 10,000 followers already, and he did too.
Okay.
So
that was already popular.
Yeah, you know
that
what I'm saying? Like, he's known because he sings, and he dresses really nice, and then he also is a pastor now, you know, Russell Pointer Jr., so like he's dope. And then me, I was a dancer, and I was also into the acting. I was doing like things like College Boyfriends and shooting different things, so I was kind of known here and there. Okay. So I was just ready. You know, I was ready. We dropped it. It got a few hundred likes. I brought my ace on board, Equal Eastonly. I brought him on board because he saw it and he was just like, because at first he was skeptical, like, man, we're going to get clowned. Then when he got a few likes, he's like, hey man, I'm in that next one. So, you know, after that, it got more and more likes. And then GS3, Greek Shenanigans, had a little dance challenge. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it was the whip challenge. And that's when, you know, whip was, you know, lit, you know, when we whipping and stuff. So he had a Greek whip challenge where it was kind of like Greeks was doing it. And I was doing it, and it caught his attention. He was just like, oh man, you dope. Posted me on his, and you know, he had like over 80,000, or was it over 70,000, one or two at that time, Greeks that was following the page. Okay. So as soon as he posted me, it was just like a breath of fresh air to Greeks. It was just like, who's this guy? This dude's dope. So all these different Greeks started to follow me, and they was just like, oh, he's dope. Then he had another challenge, the dab challenge, and I literally obliterated that. I did that challenge, and that's when everybody started knowing me. That's when I was like, pause, hold up, and I was doing all these different things, and I got reposted by so many different people, and I mean, like, I also got reposted by, like, celebrities. Like, I had got reposted by somebody on Young Money's camp. I had got reposted by, I forgot her name. She was on ATL. And it was crazy because when I posted it, then he posted it, then everybody started posting it, and everybody was just like, yo, he's dope. So that's when the Greek world and the dance world, or regular people world, kind of collided. And that's when it was just like, in the college realm altogether, it was like, I know that's 6 Solo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that, after I graduated, I was like, man, I'm over here trying to look for the gatekeepers to give me the keys so I can get all these great opportunities, so I can dance with this person and be in this movie and stuff. And I realized it don't happen like that, you know? Not too many people are nice to give you the keys or open the doors for you. Definitely. So then that's when I was like, man, I'm gonna take Solo Movement, make it my own lane where I'm gonna bridge together strolling and dancing, and make it a equal amount, where you can't say I'm just straight dancing, but you also can't say that it's just strictly strolling. Add some sauce in there, and it is what it is today. So
man, this is
happy
dope.
about it.
I commend you on that. I mean, first of all, this is kind of innovative to me because dab challenge. I never would have thought to put nothing else with it. Dab, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's dope. So have you gotten any good opportunities from dancing?
Of course. I would say that, you know, there's a lot of different things that's been in the works as far as with dancing. The good thing about Step Africa is the founder was following me on Instagram after I had auditioned in 2016.
Okay.
But I had an extra year at Morehouse that I had to finish. So when I auditioned, he ended up following me on Instagram. He was like, we would love to give you a contract, but you got one more year, and we don't want to take you from Morehouse to finish, you know, we want you to finish it out, you know, finish strong, what you started. And I was just like, oh. And I was just like, he was like, you know, we'll stay in contact. But he was watching my videos, and he already knew that, oh, I like his style.
Dope.
He's dope, you know what I'm saying? So next year, that very next year, I had to miss auditions because my graduation fell on the same day of auditions. So couldn't even make it. But because he been...
I had that the number one time. I already know.
So it was hurtful because I was just like, oh man, I thought this was going to be my job after I graduated. No, I done blew it. So, but he already been following me for a year now. So when they came back around, he said, don't even worry about it. He was like, you know, just send a video in. He was like, send a video in. He was like, I already know what you're about. I done seen your stuff, you know, and I like what I see. He was just like, we'll probably bring you on board. Next thing I know, I got a call. So that was just with Step Africa. And ever since then, like, people would hit me up if I want to host a step show or host a stroll off. They're like, yo, we want Six Solo. Instead of just getting a big celebrity, like a comedian, it's like, we want Six Solo because he's going to be entertaining.
Which is dope.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just be up there and just try to give you, you know, comedic release or, you know, real crack jokes real quick. I'm trying to get us engaged and have fun. So it'll happen. So opportunities come with that, or opportunities will come where somebody will see me dancing and they'll be like, yo, that's dope. Like, recently, it's a choreographer by the name of Keith Andre, who's at Groove to Music on 555 Whitehall, and he saw me at this showcase called Vibes, and he saw me in this girl's piece, and he was just like, yo, you dope. But the funny thing is, when I was like, yo, I appreciate it, I told him, I was like, man, I appreciate it, you know, my name is, I'm about to introduce myself. He was like, I already know who you are. He was just like, I already know who you are. I've been watching from afar because I know I've seen you on Instagram. So it's crazy how Instagram can play a role into, obviously, your worth and kind of give you opportunities. But he was just like, I already know who you were before I even met you. He was just like, now that I'm seeing it in real life, I'm like, okay, I like what I see. And since then, I done got to work with him on a project that's coming to BT soon. So, you know, it's been dope, you know?
Man, this dope. I mean, I definitely commend you on everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick.
Okay.
We got a quick game.
All right.
I got 5, 6 questions, something like that.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna pick maybe 1 or 2 of them.
All right.
Question that you pick, you gotta go ahead and answer to it.
Well, me being a 6, you already know I'm going with, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go with number 6
Well, number
first.
6.
Yeah.
Let's see what 6 is.
All right.
Oh, this is very easy.
Okay.
Do you prefer spring semester or fall semester?
Ha! Fall semester, because that's when I crossed. You know, fall semester is the best time. Shout out to all the fall lines. No, it's also homecoming time. You know, don't get me wrong. Spring, you do have that spring break, but it's a total different feeling when you have homecoming, and Morehouse and Spelman does it together. But sometimes Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark does it together. When they do it, it's a whole nother monster. You know what I'm saying? That's 3 cats.
I've been out there before.
Right.
Crazy.
So you can get lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody who's never experienced that, y'all need to make the trip.
You need to make the trip.
Make the trip.
NCAT, Fairview, I'm coming at y'all because I know y'all be talking all this stuff about y'all having the greatest homecoming. Come to the homecoming when all 3 of us have it. It ain't cheating, it's the AUC. But no, it's definitely, I would say that's fall season fall semester is definitely my favorite.
Dope. All right, we're gonna pick one more question.
All right, 3, because that's as many founders I have.
Lit. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're going to go with this one.
All right.
What advice would you give freshmen today? Because things has changed a lot, man. It's crazy. Even in the amount of time from when you were a freshman, I was a freshman to now. Like life evolves so much. What advice would you give freshmen today?
To the freshmen, I would definitely say, 1, be consistent. You know what I'm saying? And stick with it. If there's something that you really like to do, just no matter where you are, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I don't want to sound cliche, but what I want to say is that a lot of people, they tell you that life is going to get hard, but they don't necessarily guide you through it. They just give you that general answer. Yeah, life going to get hard once you graduate. You like, okay, you don't know what to expect.
Until you get there.
Right. So I would say definitely set up for your future, but no matter where you are, you can make anything happen these days. There's so many different entrepreneurs, there's so many different innovators. Like you can literally do anything, and if you have an idea, you could probably sell it and make money or a whole career off of it. So I definitely say be consistent, because you can't start something and not consistently, pursue it. Because if you don't, or if you get one no and you stop it, then that's a dream deferred. And now you have to live with what I'm gonna do next, and then when you do, something next, then it's like, well, what would have happened if I did follow through? So you can't stop at one no. That's why I say stay persistent and consistent. 2, remember that what you put on the internet or in text or anything is out there for life. You know what I'm saying? There was a story, I can't remember the guy's name, but he just got his Harvard acceptance letter rescinded because of some racial remarks he made through text with his friends when he was 16 years old.
Wow.
This was one of the, he was a survivor from one of these mass shootings, and it was just like, dang, he had so much riding, good for, and no, it's a blessing that he did make it through the shooting. Yeah. That is great. But what happened, but it was just crazy because it's like, you had a bright future, but some things that you say or you put out there, it comes back. And as much as we should be forgiving people, don't get me wrong, we should be forgiving people because that's what the Lord has, taught us. Everybody ain't that forgiving. And institutions know that is kind of like black publicity that can fall back on them. Like, hey, yeah, we letting people in who's saying this, and this, even though they was younger. So make sure you know what you're putting out there or what you're saying, and hold yourself accountable to what you are saying. If you can't stand firmly on it 10 toes from the time you said it to the time you grow up, mature, all that stuff, you probably shouldn't say it. So, like I said, be consistent, persistent, watch what you put on social media, and if there's something that you want, you know what I'm saying, don't let anybody deter you from it. You can do it. And that's why I tell the freshmen these days.
Dope. But before we get up out of here, tell the people where they can find you at on social media. Anything else that you want to tell them? Any other advice that you want to tell people? Any advice for anybody out there who want to be a dancer? And they just like, man, I want to dance. I know I got this talent, but I don't know what to do with it. So just go ahead and leave your last words and remarks for everybody and tell them where they can find you on social media.
All right, bet. Well, my name is Jabari Jones. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. That's right, East 7 Mile and Out of Drive, so I got to rep this city. You can follow me on Instagram at the number 6. Spell it out, the number 6, 1_ solo, SOLO. That's on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm not really on Twitter. I got people kind of looking over that because Twitter's not my thing. But you can follow me on there. I am _6 solo. But yeah, just follow me on Instagram for the most part. And basically, what I would say or what I would leave off is that make your own lane. Don't wait for anybody to give you keys. Don't wait for nobody to open the door. You gotta because there's 2 things that's gonna happen. Either that's never gonna open, or you're gonna be struggling trying to open it until somebody feels nice or feel like they need you. Either A, you're gonna kick that door down, or B, you're gonna make your own door. You're gonna get into the same meeting, make it to the same destination, but you're taking a different route. And the thing is, if you do your own route, you can't say that you got it from somebody else. You made your own route, and that's what makes you stand out, because it's something new. You're not coming through the same door. You're not necessarily coming through the back. You're coming through the side. You're coming from an angle, a different angle that the director or the choreographer or the artist didn't see. Ooh, I like their style, So definitely, if you want to be a dancer, I buck the system for the most part. That's something I do. I buck the system, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. Be humble, but just take the unorthodox way and make your own way. So that would be my advice to dancers, and my advice to, as far as people who trying to go Greek, discretion.
Tell me about it.
If you don't know discretion, look that up. And basically, that would honestly, lead you. I promise you that will not steer you wrong. From all the advice I gave to the freshmen, take that and then add discretion. Boom, you'll be a perfect candidate. But yeah, follow me. Again, follow me on Instagram at the number 6_solo. I want to say historically black sense. The culture, man, it's been a pleasure having me. I'm glad to push the culture.
Oh, man.
I'm glad to be up here with my, frat brother. What I'm saying? And shout out to Morales. You already know what it is.
Shout out to Morales, man. We definitely, man, we appreciate you for coming through.
Appreciate
Taking time out of your busy schedule.
Of course.
And hey, man, you welcome back on the couch anytime, bro.
Hey.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. You at home. You at home. Once again, you all have been tuned in to another episode of HBCU, Historically Black Sense, the culture, DC signing out again. Y'all be blessed.